Rick, do you have any kind of update on Julian and Josiah? What do you expect their availability to be tomorrow?
Again, I think it'll be a game time decision based on where we are right now.
Has y'all gone back and watched the film for that first Kentucky game? Just what were some areas that stood out that y'all need to be better in tomorrow?
One's rebounding. I mean, they just absolutely annihilated us on the glass and almost, I think, doubled us up. And fact is, we had a lot of blown coverages. They played really good basketball, and but we've got to do a better job on the boards, and certainly we've got to do a better job with our scouting report.
Rick, the last time you played, I think Urosh played as many minutes against Kentucky as he has the last 3 games combined. If I'm not asking for any trade secrets here, but if Kentucky takes away the perimeter like so many teams have, do you sense Urosh being as busy, or do you think there's a little bit of a different dynamic down low compared to a month ago?
No, I think again we've talked about all your consistency, and it's not just on one side of the ball; it's everything. And we feel confident with Urosh, Olivier, Jonas, and Tobey, and like I said before, we go in the game knowing that we're going to need every one of those guys, and we expect them all to be ready to play, and we need them all. I mean, as you know, night to night, some guys might not have exactly what they'd like to have and what we need them to have, and we'll go to the next guy, and if he's got it, we're going to go with that person. And but we count on every one of those guys going into every game. And the last time we played him, he did score the ball well down there for us, but we don't go into this game thinking it's going to be played the same way, because we know that Kentucky's going to make adjustments and do some different things, and as we will have to. And so we'll prepare with everybody, knowing that we need them all, and then we'll see what personality the game takes on.
Rick, Jimmy, and Mike.
I guess picking up Rick on David's question there, Kentucky has been vulnerable this season, giving up points in the paint, and you guys did have some success in that first meeting. How important will it be to play that inside-out game against these guys tomorrow?
Well, whether it's Kentucky or anyone, we feel that's what we need to do, and there's different ways to do that, and but again, we always try to play inside out, Rick. That's what we always try to do.
Rick, you mentioned getting annihilated on the boards. After watching the tape of that game, was it not blocking out? Was it lack of effort or something else?
A little bit of all of it, where we came out. Remember, we got I think an 8-0 lead on or something like that the first time out. And then when we actually started subbing, we just totally lost what momentum we had, and they captured it, and they kept, I thought their game plan was, they were being efficient with everything that they were doing. And then we got anxious and started really undisciplined, leaving shooters and doing things that you can't do against any team that you play against when you scouted them. And everybody's expected to be on the same page, and when you're not. But again, I'm not taking any, because they came in here and it was at the time everyone thought they were struggling, and like they were, but they came in, they locked in, and they beat us.
And considering the way Kentucky played you the first time around, Rick, how important do you think 3-point shooting will be for you?
I mean, I think it's important in every game, but we've talked about our team all year long. There's been nights that I think we're like any team. When we're shooting the basketball, I think any team in the country, when they're making shots, they're hard to beat, any team at this level. And if not, you've got to find a way to impact the game, affect the game, and try to come away with a win. But yeah, as coaches, I think if you ask any coach before a game, what's going through your mind, and the answer would really be, if we were all honest, would be, I hope we can make some shots. And if we can make a bunch of them, we all know if we can make shots, we've got a chance.
Rick, when you went back and got a chance to watch the film, how much more maybe impressive was what Jemai did than what you were able to see during the game the other night?
Well, he obviously he did a terrific job on a terrific player, and he was locked in, and we need him to do that. And our breakdowns, we did go zone, I think 2 or 3 possession, and one of them he wasn't in the game because at the time I think Santi had a couple fouls, Zakai had picked up some, and we thought, well, let's see if we can try to get a couple possessions here, and we didn't get this right out of a timeout. We didn't get the zone set, gave up a wide open shot, and then when we got it set on the other side, we weren't stretched out where we should have been. We gave up 2 threes they made against the zone, but looking at his individual performance, again, He's locked in. He's done that for us all year, and he again, just a great example of a guy that can impact the game and really not score points. But we need him. We're going to need him again tomorrow, doing the same thing.
Go to Tom, Ryan, and Jimmy.
Hi, Coach. So I'm working on a story about the SEC tournament, and I know there's a lot of basketball still to be played, but your win the other night showed that this SEC tournament is still just going to be wide open this year, that anybody can win. What are your thoughts looking ahead?
Well, I would agree with you. I think more than any time, certainly Alabama, our league, we have the #1 team in the country in Alabama. And I said before that game that they probably should have been #1 prior, back a couple of weeks ago, they should have been. And but we got that. And then the balance, again, it's probably more wide open than it's been in the 8 years that I've been in the SEC. I really, and I mean that sincerely, in the fact that, as you know, when you get into tournament play, so much depends on matchups, and how it plays out. So until we get to that tournament and see who's going to play who and what, but I know this, that I look around the league this year. I mean, coaches, there's so many coaches that have done just great jobs with their teams and kept them in there. I don't know if anybody's been more unlucky than Kermit at Ole Miss, but otherwise, you look, I mean, there have been some great games within our league, and I would expect the tournament to be maybe the best it's been since I've been here.
You told the team in the locker room after the game that was one of the best defensive performances that's ever been a part of on a team you coached. After watching the film, do you still feel that way? And if so, why?
And I thought the other than those breakdown, those were breakdowns that shouldn't have happened. I just mentioned in the zone, and that they shouldn't have happened, because we talked about it enough and had talked to a couple of players about what we needed them to do. But I thought the concentration with what we do, I thought effort, again, I do think for the most part, we've been a team that's given really good effort, but I thought the concentration level, especially with our perimeter players, were terrific. And a couple of the threes that they got on their dribble handoff, and they're really good at it, was not because of our perimeter guys. It was again, it goes back to our post guys, and that's why we keep talking about our post players being able to get out there and help on those dribble handoffs, especially against teams that can raise up and shoot it. But I just thought the mental concentration from a standpoint was one of the best that I'd seen.
Ricky, the last 7 games, you've been outscored on fast break points, 77-13. Is that a stat that concerns you, or a stat that you don't think that's important?
Well, the only thing that concerns me, Jimmy, is we win or lose. I mean, and the fact that we do what we need to do to go into the game. I mean, there's 10,000 stats out there, analytics, this, that, or whatever, and I guess you could take them and bend them any way you want to. What I'm concerned with is that, one, I'd like to see us get healthy, but the fact of the matter is, whatever we got, like the other night, we're going to go play. We're going to go out and give it our best effort, I can live with it. And again, I'm probably one of the least guys that spend a lot of time looking at stats after games anyway. I mean, I do everything I do off the film, and stats can't tell you all that. I just know that when we execute on offense and defense, I think we can be a really good basketball team. And like when you break down on the things I just said, coming out of a timeout, not getting where you need to be, or being 2 feet further back than you need to be, I don't know what stat tells you that, other than watching the tape and letting you know that you got to fix it.
And against Alabama, Jonas Aidoo, Uros Plavsic both scored in double digits. How pleased were you with those 2 bigs against Alabama?
Well, we need them. I mean, we need those guys. As I said earlier, we need everybody in the game to do what they do and what we need them to do for our team. We keep talking about understanding your role, playing your role every night, and doing it to the very best of your ability, and not trying to do things that we don't need you to do, but do exactly what this team needs you to do. And when those guys are doing that, obviously that's when we're at our best.
Finish up with Casey.
Coach, you mentioned the mental concentration that this team has on defense. How have they been able to build that up to be so strong in that regard this season, especially with some of the younger guys on the team? How have they really come into that mental side of the game?
Well, I think it's because of the older guys, we've always tried to be good on that side of the ball. And I do think that they've come in and they've seen guys in practice do it daily. And we've talked about how not anyone in our program came in with that mindset. It's kind of been part of the culture that we built, but it goes to them, the players are the ones that buy into it are the ones that can really help us do what we need to do.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, guys.